I'm Shanti, and a very good morning from Avdini Hindu Temple. Today is the 21st of May, 2023. We've just had Mental Health Awareness Week over the past week here in the UK. And so there has been a lot of discussion about mental health, and in particular, anxiety, stress, depression, suicide risk, all these things. I wanted to speak about anxiety and perhaps how anxiety has come about, because if we look back, say 50, 60 years, maybe 80 years, there wasn't that much of anxiety or depression around. And the world was very different at the time. There was more of support in the form of families, communities. Life was much, much simpler in the way that children just went to play and they didn't have any gadgets that would take their time and entertain them without them having to actually create their own entertainment. And perhaps 50, 60, 80 years ago, one needed to have a roof above the head and a meal in front of them. And that was a basic necessity. Whereas today, in today's world, the world is much more complex. There has been globalization of the world. And so people don't just need the basics such as clothes and warmth and food and shelter, but it has gone much, much further. They need appreciation, they need a success, they need to be seen, they need to appear in a certain way. So the external world is almost starting to become the image of the person that is in front of you. So if I have a good appearance, I look good, I'm the right age, I have a nice house, a nice car, I go on holidays in nice places, I have a good job, then my self-esteem, my self-respect actually grows and is quite stable. However, when the situations around me start to shake, start to become uncertain, such as the times when we're living just now, where there is war, there is financial pressures, there is environmental pressures, such as in recent times the flooding down in the south in England, and storms, and being fogbound. I was fogbound in Shetland. So there are a lot of stresses on us that perhaps in the past wouldn't have had such an effect on us, and perhaps wouldn't have been so frequent and so often. And perhaps in the past, people were more self-sufficient because they had a little garden with an apple tree and maybe some tomatoes growing, something like that. Whereas nowadays, we're very much dependent on what the community gives us and we can buy. And so we need the money to buy it. But also, the family structure has fragmented a little bit. And so young people, they go out and start to explore their own world. However, because of social media, of the different form of interaction, there's not so much support as there may have been in the past, where young people still left the family, but they would live together, cook together. There wouldn't be the distractions that there are nowadays, such as social media, TV, any of those stresses. And so what we can see is that the external world is at the moment is very unsettled. And if I don't have that structure that gives me support and safety, then my inner self starts to fluctuate, starts to move about. And so, in a way, uh, there are changes, but how do I respond to those changes? And how do I'm still engaged with social media, which is perhaps necessary for some, but I still feel strong and contented and peaceful and self-aware and respectful and humble and all these things. How can I actually create that accumulation of my own treasures, and these treasures, which are spiritual treasures that I can use in an aware way whenever I need them? And so, obviously, um, whenever anybody is experiencing anxiety, it is important that this is addressed. That's not the time to speak about spiritual aspects on how to deal with them and things like this, but in that moment, it cannot be disregarded, but it needs to be considered, and help and support has to be given. So, those around a person who's feeling anxiety, those who are in connection with that person, have the duty, the moral duty, the ethical duty, really to support that person and to give that warmth and that support as a first aid measure. But then, beyond the very initial first aid measures, it is important that this person sees the GP, that perhaps attends counseling, that perhaps gets other structures that are going to support that person. But when a person is in a very deep, deep, dark hole, then nothing seems to be that nothing will actually change anything, and that there won't be any relief from the pain that they're feeling. And so, just imagine being in a deep, dark hole, and if there is, you find a step or something that you can cling on, and you can start moving slowly out of it, and that there is a little light coming in there, and that deep dark hole then becomes someplace where you can start seeing things. So the person that is in that deep dark hole needs to start to take an action as well, and that action could be to go and see the GP and start to get some help, um, and start to really move slowly out of that difficulty they're experiencing. Meditation actually offers the help of becoming more self-aware, to understand who I am inside myself. And even if I'm physically in a dark hole, even if physically I have financial difficulties, even if physically there is unrest in the world that is around me, if I can maintain that strong connection with myself and also connect with the divine in whatever way I experience that divine to be, then I can start to build my way out of that dark hole, out of that anxiety. And particular for the inner self talk, the inner self vision and awareness, I need to start to change that self talk slowly, and start to bring, whenever there is a negative word, whenever there is a vision of a negative experience, really start to transform that and change that and put it into a positive light. So there's a lot of self responsibility, but there's also responsibility of those around and of the greater community to support anybody who is experiencing mental health problems. And then, as somebody is starting to heal or has healed further, then tools such as meditation and spirituality are really essential. Meditation in the way of really learning how to access that peace that is inside the self, that light that is inside oneself. And even if the world around me is dark and and dangerous, I can find that peace, that safety, and I will have a clear head with which I can deal with the difficulties that I'm experiencing at that time. And then the connection with Supreme, um, with a higher consciousness, with a being, an essence that is totally benevolent, that is not going to cause any difficulties, is actually going to support me like a mother or a father, like a friend, like a companion, and is always going to be there at all times. And again, these are um, ways of finding support in a spiritual context that can be learned and practiced uh, when when meditating. And in fact, in meditation, the steps are really to sit quietly and just accept and and accept that whatever is happening in one's life, but then to make that journey to become aware of I, the soul, the being of light, the one that is eternal, the one that is always going to be me in whatever human form I happen to be, in whatever culture, in whatever geography I happen to be. But my soul is going to, when I leave this body, I, the soul, will leave this body. I will go into another body, and it might be in a different gender, might be different culture, might be different geography, according to where I can learn the best. And so, whatever I have accumulated, whatever I have learned in this life, in this body, I will take with me, and I will continue my journey in a way. And so, not to lose any hope, not to let go of any effort, but to really learn to find that inner talk and that inner journey inside the self, which is offered in meditation. And then, when I find myself in a situation where the world is unstable around me, where there's danger, where there's difficulties, where there's hardship, then I can go back and retrieve in that essence-full self, and from there really take decisions with a clear head and a clear mind, and really allow myself to be guided by that connection that I have harnessed over a long period of time with the Supreme, or whatever you feel your eternal spiritual parent is, whoever is the guiding force in your life. And so it is most essential to start, particular when when you're not having any of these anxiety, depression, stress, or anything like this, when you are well, to start with a regular meditation practice. And that meditation practice will be there to give you strength and power and security when there is difficulty in your life. And so, for a meditation practice, you need a structured day, a structured practice. So, to set times and dates when you're going to actually meditate, and also to use a regular routine that takes you into that sweet spot where you are aware of yourself, where you connect with the Supreme. And in Raj Yoga, we call this yoga, which means connection, union. And the Raj Yoga, the Raja, the highest connection, which is the one with the Supreme. And when doing this, we will always be aware that we're never alone, that whatever and wherever I am, the Supreme, we call him the Supreme Baba, is going to be with me and is going to support me wherever I go, whatever I do. So let us meditate. So find a place where you feel comfortable and, if possible, where you're going to be undisturbed as much as possible. Sit comfortably and take a nice deep breath. And as you breathe out, just let go of any tension. Feel the coolness of the air flowing in through your nose and your mouth. Hold it for a second and then let go. And become aware how the warmth escapes through your lungs into the earth, into the atmosphere around you. And repeat it again, paying attention to breathe really slowly and peacefully. And then letting go. Becoming mindful of how the earth, the air just flows into your body, fills your lungs, and then you breathe out. And as you do it slowly, even if your thoughts are racing initially, they become slow and peaceful. And as your thoughts become slow, you become aware that there are spaces between your thoughts. And now allow these spaces to grow and your thoughts to slow down even further. Go and slip into that space and find yourself in a space that is full of light. It is unlimited, it has no limits. A place that feels safe, that feels comfortable, and where you feel in total harmony. Where you feel refreshed and awake. And become aware how in the center of your forehead there is a powerful diamond reflecting the light of the Supreme that is beyond this world, beyond this physical world, in a place of golden red light. A place that is as big as the universe, without any limits, and who's connecting with us at this time while we're sitting in meditation. And become aware of where you're sitting now. Let the sounds merge, the activity around you merge, and allow your consciousness of I, the soul, the being of light, become fully emerged, fully aware. And stay in that pride, in that awareness of I, the soul, the being of light. I, the soul, connect up with the Supreme Soul, who is in the land beyond sound, so far away from this physical world, and who has the perfect self within him. And allow that perfect self to become present, to connect with the world around you, with the awareness of I, the soul, the being of light, the one who has an awareness fully ignited, who is connected with the Supreme, the being of light, from beyond this world. Let me be peaceful and happy inside. And that peace and that happiness is found inside myself. When I'm peaceful and calm and in harmony, then I will be able to see the wisdom that lies within myself. And I will be able to share it with the world around me. Let me find community in the physical world, a community of like-minded souls who are prepared to practice in a structured way, to meditate, to contemplate, but also to give that support of community that is so much needed at this time. Let me make sure I go for exercise every day and that I sleep the right amount of hours, that I drink good, healthy water and refrain from any toxins that would obscure my mind. Because at this time, it is important to have a clear mind, a clear consciousness, and to allow myself to uplift myself beyond this world, beyond the problems of this world, not meaning that I don't pay attention to the problems. I do pay attention, but I don't get influenced by them. And let me feel the support from the Supreme at all times, wherever I am, whenever I need that support. As a light that lights from the world beyond sound connects with the light of my soul that is in the center of my forehead and becomes like a fountain of refreshing, empowering water just flowing over my body and reigniting, resetting it to its best function. And let me experience gratitude and appreciation for everything that I have, from a roof over my head, food and clothes and work and transportation and family, and anything that is supporting my life, my work, my legal standing, whatever. And let me make sure that whatever I do does not endanger any of this. Let me have my spirituality fully awake and aware at all times while walking and moving around, and not to get away from it, not to live not according to my expectations. And when there is any waste, any difficulty happening in my life, let me put a full stop. Not an exclamation mark or a questioning mark. They take time to be drawn. But let me draw the line of my life in a straight line, and let me put a full stop to any waste that is happening around me. And only then, when my life is in order, when my life is structured, when I do everything according to the need of the moment, that I actually start to have time to have the opportunity to appreciate, to give, and to experience refreshment and empowerment by the connection with the Supreme. Because that connection is here at all times, never lacking. I can be here and I can be loving. I can leave a good memory in this world of who I am and what I bring to this world. In my meditation practice, I will keep going again and again into that space between my thoughts and enter that room in which I have full self-awareness, where I have humility and respect, love and appreciation and gratitude, where there's health, there's well-being, there is nothing lacking. And from that space of self-awareness, I will shine into the world and invite those things into my life. And healing can begin to start. And so I am a soul, a being of light, a child of the Supreme. I'm in this world expressing myself according to how I behave and how I interact with others. And let that royalty, that sovereignty, that kingship be expressed and believed at all times without any problems. And so keep practicing this again and again throughout the day. If you can find a moment in time, particularly in the morning or before going to bed at night, but even throughout the day while walking, moving about, and interacting with others, always have the awareness of I, the soul. I'm looking out of this third eye. I'm looking into this world. I'm here to create goodness. I'm here to bring unity. to the world. Om Shanti. Om I am. My nature is I am Shanti. I'm peaceful. I'm pure. I'm powerful. But I bring peace to the world. And by bringing peace to the world, I receive the blessings back. Om Shanti. Have a good day.